Welcome to the Wheel Reads YouTube. I'm Alan, once again, and today we're going to go over one of the aspects of our channel. So far, you've seen sailing, you've seen an introductory video, and you saw one of our podcasts. As I mentioned in the introduction video, there's many other things that we'll be doing, so I decided to do an intro to at least one of the segments, which is book reviews. So a little bit more in detail about what it's going to look like, and then also do a little TBR, to be read or to be reviewed. Some of the books that I will be reviewing, I've already read before. Some will be new, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, let's talk about the book review itself. I'm going to do things a little differently than normal booktubers. I don't want to be a booktuber. I don't read that many books. Booktubers sometimes read 10, 15 books a month. I read maybe one. Really, I read not at all. Actually, I'll take that back. I don't read. Yeah, I don't read. I listen most of the time. Occasionally, I do read a book. The problem is, I don't have time to really sit down and read. But I drive my car, I do yard work, I work around the house and do chores, and I can put an earbud in and listen to a book. So Audible has ended up being my friend. So with that being said, I don't get to sit down and kind of pound through a book. It's kind of like in snippets here and there. It takes me about a month to read through just one book, let alone try to read multiple books in a month and just do constant book review videos. So book reviews will come out maybe once a month, maybe once every other month, and they won't just be me. With that being said, I don't want to just have me telling you my opinion. I mentioned this in the introductory video. We're going to have a panel. So it's between one other person to up to 3 other people, 4 total, just going around talking about their experience reading a book. It'll be divided into 2 parts. The first part will be non-spoilers, and we will talk about things like theme, prose of the writer and writing style, maybe overarching character development without getting into any plot details. Things that we think the writer did well from sheerly a writing standpoint and not a plot-driven standpoint. So the first part won't talk about plot at all. It will talk about overarching character development, but it won't mention characters by name. Just kind of how was the characters formed? Do they feel like they're relatable or real life or kind of fake or very, very shallow and flat characters or very dynamic characters? So not really details as far as what the characters did or who the characters are. Just in case you want to read the book and you're using this as a guide. Hopefully everyone has different opinions, and that's the whole point. So you might relate with someone on the video or on the panel that said that you value their opinion more rather than just having someone saying, hey, you should read this book, and it might be a book that you hate, versus you identify with someone on the panel that you agree with their points and you realize it's a book you want to skip, or vice versa. Someone might hate the book, but you know what? You identify more with someone else and feel like their points of view and their arguments they're making fit more with your style. So, might help you read the book. And then we'll rate the book as far as what we personally think, maybe on a 1 to 5 scale or 1 to 5 star scale. Do we recommend you read this book? Then we'll pause and go to the second half. The second half will be completely spoilers out, and we will go through things like plot and character arcs and what characters we like the most and things about the book that really popped out and things that we hated about the book too. And that would be spoiler driven. So we'll take a break in between those, have a little, cut segment to let people go ahead and sign off or log off of YouTube before moving on to that second half of the video. So that explains how this will work. The first one we will do is scheduled for May. After that, not sure yet, but I can talk about what we will be reviewing first. So my TBR, what I'm going to review. So the book we're going to start with is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, we're going to start with The Final Empire, the first book in the trilogy, move on to The Well of Ascension, and then The Hero of Ages. So this is going to be the first 3 book reviews. I have personally already read all 3 pretty recently, so it's still fresh in my mind. Some other people have finished more recently on the panel, and some have read it multiple times, and it's a really big fan of it. Some had really, very strong opinions about it. So it will be really fun to go through this book and review it with the panel. We've already had the panelists for the first one coming up, and that will be announced later when we get a little bit closer. So things I will tell you if you guys want to kind of get ahead and read. Like I said, Final Empire is going to be recorded in May, probably come out mid-May. So you got a little bit of time to read that first book. It's a fast read. If you like that traditional fantasy, you'll probably like the Final Empire. It's a very neat and cool magic system. That's all I'm going to give away. So go read it if you want to be ahead of us. So the next book we'll do is a book I'm reading right now, which is the Hyperion Cantos. It consists of 4 books. The first book is Hyperion. Second book is The Fall of Hyperion, then Endymion, and then The Rise of Endymion. I am currently on The Rise of Endymion. I've read the first 3 books back to back and almost finished about a quarter of the way through the final book. So by the time we get through Mistborn and through those other first 3 books of Hyperion, we'll be working through the end of Hyperion. It's a little different than fantasy, so I don't know if you guys have read that genre. It's sci-fi, and it's straight sci-fi. It takes place way in the future in this universe, and you know, like I said, it's not for everyone, but it is. I love this story. It starts out a little confusing, but give it time. It's a great story. So the final books that we'll be reviewing will be the first Stormlight Archives books. So we'll start with The Way of the Kings. I have not read that yet. That is next on my TBR as far as books I'm going to read. We'll review those all the way through those first 4 books that have been published so far. Of course, Stormlight Archives, I've heard and have not read that one yet, is people compare it a lot to The Wheel of Time as far as being Brandon Sanderson's epic novels that he's going to do. So I'm looking forward to getting into the Stormlight Archives. Don't know much about it at all, besides that there's shard blades. And the only reason why I even know that is because the Wheel of Reeds runs a March Madness bracket every March, and shard blades is one of the weapons because it's the best weapons in fiction is the bracket we run in March, and that shard blades are always pretty high up and people vote for them. So apparently they're pretty cool. I will find out when I get to that, probably next month or later this month. And that will take us through most of the rest of the year. I mean, you think about it, if it's about a book a month, I just listed out 8, 9, 10, 11 books. If we're reviewing a book every twice a month or every other month, we'll take it through most of the rest of the year. Other books I have on my list to read, my TBR, include this one, Shadowless by Randall McNally. Fantology podcast sent that book to me. So go check them out. They run brackets every single month, and I won one of them. So it's my second time winning one of these brackets. So the first time they sent me this cool Fantology water bottle, which it's nice. I use it all the time. So yeah, go check them out. Play their brackets on Twitter. You might win things like books or water bottles. I also have this book. That's a big, nice, girthy book, American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Definitely want to read that. I started reading it, decided to stop to focus on things like YouTube. I'll eventually want to get back to that. I've also promised people that I will read Mistborn Era 2 and The Expanse. Now, The Expanse is a little bit longer, has more books, so I might read a book at a time and jump back and forth between different things rather than muscling through the entire series. As we move forward, I do plan on doing series, but as I said with The Expanse, if it's a really long series, not 3 or 4 books, like a Wheel of Time or a Discworld where there's 41 books, I might just kind of sprinkle those in and read them in between books. Things like a Malazan or something like that, something that has a multi-volume series. Then I probably won't just do back-to-back videos about it. It will be spread out and kind of insert it in. So that's a plan I have going forward. Who knows? I might end up driving a lot more coming up soon, being that things are opening back up here in the States. Now that people are getting more vaccinated. With that, driving more means I listen to more books and I can muscle through books faster. I also plan on reading short books like The Breach of Peace by Daniel Green. He's another YouTuber. I don't know really much about it at all, except there's cops. I've heard that from the reviews, and I try to stay away from the reviews as much as possible because I want to be able to form my own opinion and not read someone else's first. So I will review that too as well once I get to it and read it. Like I said, I have a big docket. But with that being said, I still would welcome any suggestions that you guys might have. Feel free to make suggestions. It might be a while before I get to your suggestions, but I'll take it all. I'll read through, figure out something I actually want to read, and I might read it. I might eventually review it. I might break out and try to do more reviews and maybe have different guests send me videos, and maybe I could just put them on my channel. Like if Ian or Chris want to do a video and want to do a review of a book they've read, we might be able to kind of team up and put more content out. I'm just not going to have time to do it. So we could always have that happening on this channel as well. So we'll see as the time goes on. But that's it for now. So like I said, like and subscribe to this channel. Feel free to leave those comments down below. Tell me what I should read next. I would love to hear your thoughts on the selections that we have coming up. If you've read Mistborn, I would say keep the spoilery content in the comment sections down to a minimum in case people haven't read it. Or if you haven't read it, I guess beware of the comment section. And also give me thoughts, your thoughts about Hyperion if you read it. It's definitely a completely different genre, being more of that sci-fi than fantasy, with a lot of religious undertones. And that's all I'm going to give you about as far as that. So that's about it for this video. So until next time, peace.